Good morning, everyone. Actually, I should say it's good afternoon. It's almost 3 o'clock. Haven't been on here in a while. Um, have not been on here for a while. Again, ignore the background. I just wanted to get on because I had not been on here in a while, and I tried to make a TikTok video. I'm not really great with short content, short whatever. Anyway, short form content. Anyway, but I had to get on here to say something because I've really been busy for the last several months. Long story short, I lost my job. I found another job. And so now I'm kind of getting situated into this new job. And so far, so good. It's going okay. It is at a medical facility. And I'm trying to keep a lower profile, generally speaking. Pardon me. I don't really want to, combine whatever. But at the same time, I don't feel like I can remain silent under the circumstances. We are living in a very fascist country right now, and I think that it is important to still continue to have conversations about really important issues. Okay. And pardon me, it's very dry in my house. Anyway, and I've really been kind of trying to ignore the news as much as possible. I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I end up doom scrolling, which is horrible. And so I've been trying to make some changes in that and trying to make big changes in my life because I need to. And under the circumstances, the world is not the same place it was a year ago, right? I'm unfortunately not able to go out and protest and do all this other kind of stuff because I have a lot of other responsibilities. So, but I still really try to speak up, have good conversations. And it's challenging, right? Because you start a new job, you don't want to offend anybody, you don't want to um, get on the bad side of anything, right? But I had an issue the other day, and I just it's been sitting rent free in my head, and I just had to say something about it because, especially in the light of the recent Oklahoma student who wrote a paper about Jesus, and she got a 0 because she did not follow the rules of the assignment, and that was why she got the 0. But it's because I'm a persecuted Christian. And, she's being outed for what it is, right? You can look that up, right? But every year we really have should we say happy holidays? Should we say Merry Christmas? And at my employment, we try to I was trained from my employer, went through training. Fortunately, because they're a medical facility, they did not ignore or abandon quote unquote DEI because that's their values. It was a, I won't get into too much of specifics, but they're a business that helps people. So they care about patients. They promote kindness. They promote compassion. They promote tolerance, not merely just to the patient, but to coworkers. We all should get along, be kind to each other, be tolerant, etc. Great, wonderful. Unlike Target or Walmart or other places that just so quickly abandon all their DEI stuff, right? Like they just said, well, okay, and they just moved on, right? Because it wasn't marketable for them anymore. They did not see the benefit of being kind anymore. I mean, Target has its own wave of issues right now due to their failed Black Friday holiday stuff. So it's like, yeah, right. You only do things based upon whether or not it's going to put money in your profit, in your bank, right? They do stuff, if it's not profitable for them to be kind and tolerant and inclusive, they won't do it because that's not That's not what they're about. But a healthcare facility is a little bit different. You know, you are supposedly there to care about people, right? Anyway, but you don't want to offend anybody, so we generally, we'll state happy holidays. Sometimes we say Merry Christmas. It just depends, we have people that are coming in from all walks of life. We have people who are Indian who I don't want to assume, but maybe they are actually Hindu. We have Jewish people. We have, don't make any assumptions. We don't want to judge people based upon their looks, how they present themselves anyway, right? I don't know who you are, right? Unless you tell me that you're Jewish, you're Hindu, you're Christian, you're whatever. You could be atheist, you could be whatever, right? We don't make assumptions about that because that isn't really our business. We're there to help you and to be kind, okay? So I don't have and again, just for the record, I consider myself pagan and I celebrate the winter solstice and Yule. Okay? That does not mean that I have any animosity towards Christmas. I was raised Christian. I love the Christmas holiday. I love Halloween. I love Samhain, right? But I love Christmas. I don't have any issues with it. I mean, I've even thought about after my mother, who became atheist, right? After my mother died, I actually thought I'm going to go back to the church which was an Episcopalian church, to go back to the Christmas Mass, just for nostalgia, just for because I really remember I had really, really fond memories of that. We would go to Christmas midnight mass on Christmas Eve, and I had fond memories of that. I look back and I'm not offended. I didn't have a fundamentalist evangelical upbringing, so I didn't get toxic religion shoved down my throat, fortunately. But I just gradually moved on. I mean, I went to a all girls Catholic high school, right? I was on liturgy. I sang in liturgy and I was not Catholic. So, I don't really have any issues with it. I did have animosity and I moved away from Christianity after I graduated from high school because I was in my exploratory phase. I had issues and I thought this isn't squaring, right? Like I don't understand this. And I was in my exploratory phase. And really kind of cut myself off from Christianity because I really didn't. There was just some stuff that just didn't make a lot of sense. I have since come around full circle and I understand Christianity in a deeper way that is more esoteric rather than the dogmatic, surface level kinds of churches and all of that stuff. I throw that all away. I don't follow a religion. I follow, if I followed Christianity, it is because I follow Christ's teachings about loving your neighbor. I am into the esoteric aspects of any path, right? And that is, does this help make me a better person? Do I feel inspired by it? Does it promote kindness, tolerance? Am I getting something that is helping me to grow and evolve as a human being? Okay. If it doesn't do those things, I have no purpose for it, right? My paganism is still I've explored many different paths. I've explored shamanism. I have explored Hinduism. I have explored Buddhism. I have explored all of these, and they all bring in a richness to my own. I hate saying. Understand that. No, shut up. My own faith, right? I hate using the word faith because it promotes like this thing. I just have faith, but it's part of my spirituality. All of them I borrow, and they bring enrichment because they all have something to do with one another, right? And I could go into that far deeper. Anyway, so the event was, gentleman was leaving, and a coworker wished them a happy holidays, because we'd been all day long, we'd been going happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever, Usually it's just safer to say happy holidays because I don't know who you are. You could be Jewish. Why would I wish you a Merry Christmas? And this gentleman got seriously offended, blew a gasket. Oh my God. Why, enough with this happy holidays horseshit, and I celebrate Christmas. And the thing is that my coworkers jumped on the bandwagon and agreed with them. And then suddenly I felt kind of like I'm the person out of place here. I stayed silent. I just bit my lip. I just ignored it. I tried very hard just to kind of just not say a thing, I wanted to, but I was very good and I didn't say anything. But this gentleman was on a screed about how, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember everything he said, but, he was talking about how his family had been here since the 1600s and that they worked hard and yada, yada, yada. Because the whole thing, I think, his mind, they were upset because of the whole Somali thing in Minnesota, because that's a topical conversation. And he, and Trump was calling, because Trump has that tendency to promote and egg on the most hateful, horrible people in the world. And I have been disgusted, but I don't know really what was going on in Minnesota. I haven't looked into that, right? But the fact that Trump is so easy about this, right? That he promotes some of the ugliest language and hate towards people. And it's all race-based. And so he's been calling these Somalis garbage and they're trash. And Ilhan Omar, who is one of the legislators, that she's trash. I mean, he's been saying this stuff. And people go, oh, he's always like that. Like, yeah, we all know that he is an ugly, horrible human being, and he says very, very hateful things to people. But I don't think that we should ever forget that and say, oh, whatever. Because I think that it is, and especially in this time, we are in the holiday season that has been, from what my upbringing is, about kindness, it's about generosity, it's about compassion, tolerance, love, whatever it is, right? It's a hard season. I'm also, I celebrate the winter solstice because that is when the days start getting longer again. Everyone's like, oh, it's winter. And I'm like, yeah, but the days are going to get longer again. We are going to be in the darkest night of the year. And so we always want to kind of come together and drink hot mulled wine or cider or cocoa and come together and be kind to each other and kind of reflect on the year and whatever we do, right? That it's about this. I mean, if it's about Jesus's birth, okay, if you really believe that literally, that's your own thing. That's okay, whatever. But it's more about the allegory and the metaphor of what that meant, right? Trump was out there just the other day and he was reading some written for him speech about how Christianity changed everything. And he was talking about loving your neighbor and being kind. And I'm sitting there going, wow, that's really, really ironic, isn't it? Just after you just literally called other human beings trash and garbage. But no, let's go ahead and talk about how hypocritically talking about let's be kind to everyone. Well, you're not doing that. I mean, these people that claim to be Christian, that wear their religion on their sleeve going, I'm a good Christian, are some of the most hateful people in the world. And they're fake, and they do not follow the teachings of Christ in any way, shape, or form at all. And it's disgusting. I know more atheists who are more Christian than these so-called fake-ass Christians, period. They're kind, they're compassionate, they're generous, right? They do that. And yet people are like, but I believe in God. What's stopping you from being a greedy, thief and a horrible person? Because I know better. Like, that's because I know that those are good values. You know, it's like, why are you, I have a now ex-friend who, because I was bringing up about all the horrible things that was going on with Trump. And I would email, and this person I knew most of my life, right? And she got so upset. She's like, I love everything he's doing. He's just so great, blah, 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 blah. And then, and this isn't just one time, she's done this a couple of times where she says, well, I believe in God. She said she believed in God. And yet she has said some of the most hateful, disgusting, mean-spirited stuff I have ever known. She does not act like a Christian. I don't ever remember her. I actually went to church more than I ever remember her and her family ever going to church. Honestly, we went to church every Sunday at this Episcopalian church. I never remember her ever going to a church. Or ever attending any kind of service, right? It's kind of weird. Maybe she did, but I mean, I grew up with her and I don't remember them ever coming to church with us. I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't ever remember them ever going to church. But, you know, she's like, I believe in God. And I'm like, yeah, but you're not acting like a Christian. I don't care if you believe in God. What God? You know, you're a hateful person. And I'm expected to be silent. I'm expected to don't start anything. Don't bring in the drama. Just, you know, ignore it. You know, keep your head down. You know, you got a job to keep, all this other kind of stuff. And yet I'm expected to listen to, like, I'm not supposed to be bothered or let these people pull my chain or trigger me or whatever because I'm better. I'm supposed to be a better person, right? And generally I am. You know, I do get on here and I say things because I don't want to be silent. I shouldn't have to be silent. I shouldn't have to be afraid that my videos are going to be taken down or that I'm going to be arrested or whatever. I mean, if we've gotten to that point, or then I'm going to be fired, right? Like, it's funny because these people who say the most hateful thing, like the Charlie Kirk stuff, right? This fake ass Christian says hateful, horrible things. And yet, oh, we're so victimized. Oh my God, we lost our jobs. And, you know, it's just, we're like, okay, we literally just quoted what he said and we're losing our jobs now because we're quoting somebody's words who has said this. And we're in dangerous times, folks. Anyway, so this situation, so this gentleman was going on and on and on, and he was talking about, these liberals, blah, 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 and that this is a Christian nation, and, you know, and that his family came here from the 1600s, and, you know, yada, 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 and just on and on and on. And I'm just like, bite my tongue, bite my tongue, bite my tongue. But like I said, my coworkers agreed with him. And they felt suddenly comfortable because this gentleman was saying, oh, yes, I agree. Yes, we should just be able to see Merry Christmas and none of this happy holiday stuff. And he said that he had Jewish friends and Muslim friends, which I seriously doubt. Maybe Jewish friends, but I doubt any Muslim friends. And he was claiming that, oh, well, they don't have a problem with, you know, they don't have a problem with, you know, people saying Merry Christmas. And I'm like, well, how do you know that? Have they stated that to you, or are you assuming that? And also, if they stated that to you, you know why? Because they're probably bigger persons and they don't get their panties in a bunch about who's saying what around this holiday season. But this person and these people that get so offended by someone wishing them happy holidays, it's like, you're such a narcissist. You think that the entire world revolves around you. You know, it's like, it is so aggravating. You're just so small-minded. And it's like, you don't even understand or follow the teachings of Christ because you're being a hateful, bigoted, narcissistic, selfish, egotistical, self-centered person. That's not good values, right? And so it's so disappointing, you know, and I just bit my tongue. And then later I found something in our bathroom that was very pro-Christian. And it was the first time that that was the first time that I actually had any kind of thing. But it's like, bite my tongue, you know. And the thing is that I currently have been engaged with a group of people who are with the church. And this church does, and again, I'm pagan, right? But they have been some of the most compassionate, genuinely Christian people. They have never proselytized to me. They may, you know, there may be events that they talk about Christ or they talk about God or whatever, and because that's their focus. But they've never led any group with a prayer. They've never proselytized. They've never rejected anybody because they didn't have the same values. And this church has something. They do taxes for people. They help people find jobs. They help people find training for jobs. They help people by giving them, uh, toilet paper and care products and stuff like that. They feed them at these events. They teach them skills. I mean, whatever. I mean, they have a whole bunch of services. They even give out Thanksgiving care boxes and stuff like that. I mean, they do this out of their own hearts. So they are actually a sincerely Christian church, right? Instead of some mega church that spends their millions and millions and millions of dollars on pyrotechnic displays and fancy schmancy, lighting shows and concerts and all this other kind of stuff for tens of thousands of people in their thing. They're not like that at all. They're actually doing something to help other people, not just trying to, entertain people and create a passive, I'm in wave my hands in the air and, whatever. They're actually doing things to actually help people. And I do speak out and remind folks when I see people that are like, oh, all Christianity is bad. And I'll say, no, not all Christianity is bad. You can't make these sweeping generalizations about everything. That there are people who actually do live to Christ's teachings and help people, okay? And I am saying that as a pagan, okay? And my parental units were atheists, and they were big in the atheist movement. So that's where my context is. I can be open, I can be generous, and I can be kind. But when I hear these people who are getting their panties in a bunch over a mere statement about happy holidays and that they get offended and they just want to be in this victim complex and oh, how dare you, and that people come over to this country and they're lazy and they're garbage and they're trash. Jesus said, welcome the stranger, right? These people are not Christian. I mean, when the preacher at the inauguration service and all of the backlash, I mean, she was saying, remember to be kind, remember to be tolerant, etc. And all of the MAGA people got their panties in a bunch about that and said, she's horrible, she's not a real Christian, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I have been saying all year long that Donald Trump is the Antichrist. Seriously. Like, I mean, and while I tend to generally reject all the Christian, eschatology stuff, I will say that I really, I'm looking at this going, there's something really seriously wrong and demonic about all this stuff. And I wouldn't be surprised if this video got flagged because Palantir and all this stuff. And I can't remain silent because I know that in my heart, I am talking about being kind to people, be compassionate. I reject people who call other people garbage. Okay? That's hateful and wrong. Okay? And it's like, and if you get your panties in a bunch over someone saying happy holidays to you because you have a victim complex about your religion and you are using veiled racist language and veiled racist whatever, I don't care about you. Please go away. Okay? And I am not going to remain silent on this. because we need to change what is going on right now. And this administration has been the most hateful. I mean, Reagan was a Boy Scout compared to the crap that all is going on right now. And I'm just not going to, and in this time, I am not going to remain silent. And I have to speak up, even though my voice may shake. And I encourage you to do that too. And I wish I could be out on the streets protesting more, but my life doesn't afford that luxury right now. So I do what I can. Because I really believe that it is really important that we do speak up when and basically witness to when wrong is being conducted, or when somebody is saying something that is just flat out wrong. And I know that people would say, well, you should keep your head down, or just stay away from politics and everything. And I'm like, this is beyond politics, folks. This is about basic human dignity and decency. Okay? And I'm not going to remain silent. I will speak up for justice. I will speak up for people who cannot speak up for themselves. And if you come up to me and you get offended to me, I don't know what I would have done if this gentleman would have come to my station and said all that he said. Oh, no, for this happy holiday. I would have probably, because we're supposed to just slide past it and go, okay, have a nice day, right? Like, don't cause consternation with possible clients or customers or whatever. But I really, in my mind, I was thinking, I probably would have said, well, sir, I don't know, I had words better formed in my mind yesterday, but this has been sitting rent free in my head. If he had gotten his panties in a bunch about that, I said, well, sir, we serve a lot of different people in this agency, and that, we like to be considerate and compassionate and not assume that everybody is a Christian. And you know what? That's okay. And for myself, I'm actually pagan and celebrate the winter solstice. So happy winter solstice, or some kind of thing, and just let him get all like, and I'm sure that he probably would have gotten all upset and reported, oh, I got a bad treatment, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't care. It's just, I don't want to be dealing with this and say that it's okay for you to talk this way. Everybody is treated with respect. And this is one thing that in my training that was really emphasized, about treating everybody with respect, that you treat your coworkers with respect. You treat, patients with respect. This should be a no-brainer, right? And so if you're saying something to me, yes, I could ignore it and go, hi, I'm just going to smile and say, envision me sticking a fork in your head or something like that. But I won't say anything, and I'll just go, kill him with kindness, right? Like, but I'm not going to agree with you. I mean, if probably what I would have done is that if he had said that and I said happy holidays and he was like, blah, 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 I would have just been like, and just nod, or not even nod. I'd just be like, are you done? And it's like, okay, you're checked out. You can go, I'm like, I'm not going to give him. I mean, I know people say, well, don't give them the benefit of upsetting you or triggering you or riling you up. You're right. I'm a better person than that. But at the same time, he was flat out wrong. But anyway, so I come on here and I rant about it to get it out of my head, because I was like, anyway. With that being said, I hope everyone is surviving the winter, surviving the holidays, whatever you practice to follow. And I really, really hope that you have a very generous, the other thing that I'll say in ending is that I've been driving home and I see these houses with their Christmas decorations up, their little Christmas lights. And I realized my favorite kind of Christmas lights. I usually like all white lights, because like warm white lights, it's prettier, right? It's cleaner. But I realized that I really do actually like the kind of the wonky, we've thrown the colored Christmas lights up on our front porch or whatever, and they're just kind of wonky. They're just kind of hanging there, right? I don't like the blow up Christmas decorations. I just find that just cheap. Any Anyway, I mean, it just looks like you put no effort into it. But the colored Christmas lights, it just looks so kind of like, it's kind of like Charlie Brown's Christmas tree, right? Like it's just this kind of like pathetic looking thing, but there's something so sweet and simple about it. It's just saying, hey, we didn't have a lot of money for a fancy schmancy Christmas display or money, whatever. We've got $5 for some lights, and we threw them up in our house, and that Christmas is about, hey, we don't have a lot of money right now to buy expensive gifts, but we've got money to buy food and come over and let's commune and share each other's friendship and kindness. And I really hope that that's what you get. Even if you don't have any money and you don't have a lot and you're worried about what's going to happen in the future, just take the time and relax and have a good meal and do simple things with each other. Because that's what Christmas is about. Anyway, with that, I'm going to cry and I'm going to hope that everybody has a wonderful holiday season. Thank you very much. Thanks.